At first the alibi was a break-in, then self-defense, but soon the lovers confessed. There was no conclusive proof that he'd pulled the trigger, so the boy was released from jail on the condition that he be committed to a mental health institution for many years. KG made no comment, and now she couldn't open the door from the inside. It appeared to be the logical outcome. I'm not recording this. I've come to see you, and as you probably know, I'm a reporter. I'd like to hear your side of the story, that's all. Nora blurted out. Are you married? Christina asked, her voice tired, never looking up from her nails. Nora paused, weighing whether to marry herself off on the spot to keep the conversation going, but instead she opted for sincerity. No, I'm not. I was with someone, but... Then she broke off mid-sentence, wondering what it was about this woman that she'd nearly begun to confide in her about her own life. What point is there, then, in telling you? Well, I don't know. How did it all begin? She pushed on, knowing this was her only chance. How did what begin? Christina laughed and shook her head. Nora could see that once something like this has happened, the person to whom it happened no longer speaks the same language other people speak. One of the two women talking in the lounge was behind bars, while the other was free and independent. But Christina had nothing left to lose, so she could allow herself everything, while Nora still had everything to lose. The interview, her freedom, her job, her resilience, her solitude. Christina laughed while Nora kept her mouth shut and weighed every word spoken to Christina and everybody else. Somewhere beneath the surface, this ordinary, banal, and tawdry prison could actually free you. The pressure that rose from Nora's chest to her throat every evening was released, strangely, by Christina's harsh barks of laughter. Yes, freed. I wanted Ante dead. I did. Really, ever since we moved back to the city. I had the whole thing down to a science. Every evening when he came home and I heard the key in the lock, whether he was drunk or not, I could tell by how he turned the key. And once it turned, hop to it, girl. God help us. Out of bed with you. It was even worse if I pretended to be sleeping. I jumped as high as the roof without him so much as lifting a finger. Never once in all our 15 years did he hit me. But it was dance me a jig, sing me the anthem, swear to me up and down that you've no clue where your father is. Till he dropped off to sleep in my lap before dawn, slobbering, drenched in sweat. A wreck. You're all I have, he'd sob, the motherfucker. Here, Christina stopped. Here, where she'd only just begun, but the images shimmied before Nora's eyes, and she couldn't work out how to keep moving forward with any sort of reasonable question. She didn't dare take up paper and pencil. All of this had to be committed to memory. So he abused you. And after she'd uttered the words, she knew this was a mistake. Her question was all wrong, way off base, and so insulting, even to a woman who'd just been convicted of murder. But she didn't want to approach the story the same way the right-wing tabloids and Serbian papers had been doing, the way most of the local papers except the official press had done. Their fangs were bared, the blood dribbling down their chins, especially at the news that Christina was a Croatian language teacher for students who were ethnic Serbs. She was Croatian, married to a Croat. Her husband, Ante, was a war veteran, a war invalid, a former prison camp internee. Meanwhile, Dejan, her teenage lover, was from a Serbian family, born in the city in 1993 while it was still under Serbian occupation. Dejan's grandfather was one of the leaders of the Serbian territorial defense, the Chetniks, who scuttled off like cockroaches after eastern Slavonia, the region they'd occupied by force, was reintegrated peacefully into Croatia 3 years after the war. When Christina spoke of her return with Ante to the city after reintegration, she was referring to a time when Dejan was still only 6 or 7. So what did Ante making her dance a jig and Christina's lost father have to do with any of this? In response to her question about abuse, Christina shot Nora a sharp glance that could easily be read as, "Stupid woman. So what if I have all the time in the world? Don't waste it."